Hello students, welcome to Legacy Academy. In this particular video, we are going to discuss about a recent news coming from Meghalaya, where Union Minister Gurjar has requested basically the government of Meghalaya to talk with the people, the opposition parties and the civil society groups from Meghalaya who are opposing the railway project that was aimed to connect the city of Meghalaya, the capital city of Meghalaya, Shillong. So from last couple of months, we have seen a massive protest erupting in the region of Meghalaya, driven by several pressure groups such as the groups representing Khasi tribes, groups representing Garo tribes, and even a students' union. So what is the reason and why they are protesting against a railway project? Let us try to understand this in more detail in this particular video. But first of all, to give you a brief context of this particular issue, very recently, Krishan Pal Gurjar, who has been appointed as Union Minister of State for Cooperation, he has basically urged the government of Meghalaya. He has written a letter to the Chief Minister of Meghalaya, Conrad Shagma, and asked him to engage in dialogue with all the groups who are opposing railway projects, try to convince them that why railway is very, very important for Meghalaya and how it will bring economic transformation of the state and overall increasing the livelihood opportunities for the people of the state as such. And also he has clearly justified the reason why government is so much focused on ensuring railway connectivity to this particular state is something that aligns with the vision of Prime Minister Modi. Prime Minister Modi is trying to ensure that there is a strong and seamless connectivity across the country and not a single state should be left behind. All the states and at least their capital city should be connected either by railway networks or if it is not possible then by airway network or by air, this is what you can call as the by building of airports as such. Now we talk about the particular railway project which is being opposed by the groups in Meghalaya. This basically is two major projects. One project is a small one for a distance of 21 kilometers, as you can see from the map here. The aim of this project is to basically connect Birnihat region, that is in Meghalaya, to the nearby Tetalia region, that is in the Assam. Now, so Tetalia to Birnihat is a railway line that is approximately 21 to 22 kilometers, and then further from Birnihat, connectivity will be ensured to the Shillong, that is the capital city of Meghalaya. So overall, basically from this Tetalia to Birnihat and Birnihat to Shillong, this is a total railway line for a distance of approximately 150 kilometers. Now, this is a very significant railway line because in the nearby state of Assam, where we have good connectivity, better connectivity, prices of all the commodities are relatively low. They are sold at cheaper prices, but because Meghalaya lacks any kind of significant railway infrastructure, railway connectivity, the price of the same commodities becomes quite higher in Meghalaya. So that is the reason why government is trying to ensure that there is a kind of railway project, rail lines connecting Meghalaya as well. Also, this entire project is in line with the vision of government to connect all northeastern state capitals by railway. And as of now, Meghalaya is the only landlocked state of northeastern region which does not have railway connectivity to its capital Shillong as such. As of now, we try to understand the only railway line that or only railway station we can see in Meghalaya that is functioning since 2004 is Mendi Pathar, that you can see from here near the border of Assam as such. And except Mendi Pathar, there is no major railway stations anywhere in Meghalaya. So this is what the project is all about. Now, if we try to understand railway, the development of railway projects, railway stations, bringing up of the railway lines and all has been a contentious issue, an issue of debate in the Meghalayan society. This issue is basically what you can understand has a lot of views. Some of the groups are there who are basically supporting this railway project, while many groups are there, they are opposing the railway project. So for example, if you try to look at the stakeholders here, you have the government that obviously is trying to ensure connectivity, improve connectivity in the northeastern region including Meghalaya. You have opposition party member who on the other hand have clearly given and lent their support to the protesting groups, the pressure groups such as Khasi Students Union. Then you have the civil society organizations which belong to the which basically belong to different regions of Meghalaya, such as for example you have Khasi Students Union, you have Jayanagara Union, then you have the environmental groups as well, and then you have the local communities, the public and people who also have their own view regarding the project as such. Now, before moving further, that why people are protesting against this project if it is about to bring a sea change in the economy of Meghalaya, I would want to bring your attention to the fact that at Legacy as Academy, we are going to soon commence our batches on the 9th and 11th of August, which is going to be the weekday and weekend batches. We will ensure that the students enrolled in these batches, aspirants enrolled in these batches have comprehensive coverage, or they are ensured comprehensive coverage of all GS papers right from the start GS1, GS2, GS3, GS4. We also ensure that we have one-to-one mentorship and doubt solving sessions, and there is a regular interaction with educator. Also, to ensure that interaction between educators and aspirant is to maximum extent, we have a strict policy of maximum 40 students per batch. We also believe that the preparation of UPSC should be done in an integrated manner. That means right from the start, you should have integrated preparation of prelims, mains, and interview. And that is where the daily mains answer writing practice, the feedback upon this can play a very important role in the success of student research. Also, students cannot just keep on reading and writing answer. They need to have proper feedback to what extent their preparation has been done or where do they stand, because it is a very competitive examination, and that is where the test series for prelims and mains can play again a very important role. And as UPSC focuses both on the static and the current affairs part, we also ensure 360-degree current affairs coverage and many other things. So if you want to know detail about this particular program, you can download our app. You can also click the link in the description box of this particular video. Now, coming back to this particular topic, if you try to understand that why the people and the government of Meghalaya, why they are supporting the projects, obviously railway projects will have a lot of pros, a lot of benefits. One major benefit that we can understand is that obviously railways can act as a catalyst for economic growth. You know that out of all the modes of transportation that we have accessibility to, whether it is the roadways, railways and airways, waterways, except waterway, railway is the cheapest mode of transportation. It has capability to connect different parts of country, and it has capability to bring large volume of goods by its freight trains or freight corridor, we can say. So that is one advantage. Second, obviously, as we discussed, it is the cheaper mode of transportation, both for the movement of public as well as the movement of goods. And obviously, it will ensure improvement in the trades in Meghalaya, especially from the nearby state as such. And this can be understood from the simple fact. They will take example of the rice. If talk about the bag of rice that cost rupees 300 per kg in the nearby state of Assam, it cost rupees 400 per kg in Meghalaya. The same, we can understand, sack of rice cost 100 rupees more here per bag, we should say, not 300 per kg, per bag we are talking about. So the same bag of rice cost 300 and same bag of rice cost 400 in the Assam and Meghalaya. The reason here is because of the cheaper, because of the costlier mode of transportation, that is the road transportation, and obviously connectivity also is bad. And this is reflected in all kind of commodities that is being brought in Meghalaya, whether it is related to construction such as cement, rods and all this, everything costs more than the nearby states. So that is something that we can address if the railway project is given a green flag. Now, obviously, local people, the civil society groups, pressure groups have raised their own concern, and that concern is that if railway is allowed to develop, if Meghalaya and the capital city of Meghalaya is linked with the railway line, it can also bring a demographic shift. Why demographic shift? Because they are fearful that because railway connectivity, due to railway connectivity, that there will be an uncontrolled movement of migrants both from the nearby states, as well as this can be taken advantage of by the illegal migrants coming from Bangladesh, right? Also, the environmental groups, they have raised their own concern, because obviously when the railway line will be developed, Meghalaya is a region which is of immense importance from environmental perspective, because this region full of what you can call as pristine forests and the hills, and these will have to be degraded. These will have to be, like, for example, deforestation will be obviously a result of the railway development. Obviously, there will be a lot of cuttings in the hills and all that will make slopes much more unstable, and also it can create troubles in the form of natural disaster by bringing landslides and all that. So this also have to be taken into account, and unless and until this is not addressed, these groups also are protesting the project. Similarly, erosion of indigenous identity. Obviously, one of the major results of the uncontrolled influx of migrant is that local people, their identity, their culture began to be threatened. And because Meghalaya is largely a group, is known as a region where you have three major groups, that is Garo group, Khasi group and Jantia group that resides. So they are fearful that illegal migrants will also attack and will lead to erosion of the identity, tribal identity, indigenous identity as such. If you try to look at the location of this particular state on the map of India, we can see this is the entire northeastern region. This is a small state that you can see sharing border with Assam on the north and east, and then you can understand here you have a region of Bangladesh. So it shares a long border with Bangladesh as well, and that is why the fear of illegal influx of refugees and migrants come into picture. And that is where you have the capital city, that is Shillong. Now, as far as the pressure groups are concerned, as we have discussed, these are the Khasi Students Union. We also have Jayantia groups. So they have said that we need to regulate the influx of outsider so that the indigenous tribal population do not fear any kind of marginalization. Until and unless this is addressed, railway development project they will not support as such. And for example, indigenous tribal population regulating the influx of outsider, they already demanding that there should be ILP, Institution of Inner Line Permit System. That means state government will have the right and authority to grant permit to any Indian come into the state for temporary period of time, especially in the protected areas. And again, if you look at the demography, why they are fearful that demography can change? Because the population of the tribal groups that are what you can call inhabiting the region of Meghalaya is not very high. For example, the Garo population is in the range of 10 lakh. The second larger group that you have, Khasi population, their population also is in the range of 13 to 14 lakhs only. And obviously the pressure groups demand that such kind of system, that is the inner line permit system, ILP system, already is in place in the neighboring states of Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, Mizoram and Manipur. So why not Meghalaya? Why Meghalaya also cannot enforce the system? That is what their demand is. Now, if you try to understand the opposition or support to this entire railway project, we do not have a single view. For example, the pressure groups, as we have discussed. For example, recently, Jayanagara National Council, they also have clearly stated that they will use this railway project as a bargaining chip to demand ILP in the state of Meghalaya as such. But again, if you go and talk to the people, general public as such, they are quite indifferent. They do not have a clear view. For example, there is also a division between the rural areas and the urban areas. The people of the urban areas of Meghalaya believe that the project should be commissioned, should be allowed to take shape because it will bring development. On the other hand, people from the rural areas are fearful of the influx of migrants as such. So basically, if you try to look at the stand of the Meghalaya government also, Conrad Sangma, who is the current Chief Minister of Meghalaya, he also has lent support to the project. He is even advocating for the railway connectivity on the economic ground because it will have a financial advantage, economic advantage for the state in terms of revenues, in terms of reducing inflation, cost of goods and all that. However, he also has said that he will not just do whatever his government wants or whatever he wants. He will ensure that there is a general consensus with all the stakeholders, all the tribal groups and even the opposition parties in the Legislative Assembly of Meghalaya. Now, obviously, we have to understand the project is hugely significant. It has a huge significance for the people, life and the economy of Meghalaya because it is believed to be a crucial project for economic viability of the state. Now, why we are talking about this? Because if you look at the overall entire economy of the state, 75%, roughly we can say 75% of the Meghalaya's population depends on small patchy agriculture, and because of lack of connectivity, they are not able to sell their agriculture produce in the market, and many times they do not get enough value for the produce that they are growing. Similarly, 25% of population of Meghalaya is engaged in service economy, and service economy, as we understand, is largely dependent upon the transportation, the ease of access of any particular areas. And recently we have seen Meghalaya is trying to catch a lot of tourists as well, draw a lot of tourists as well, both from the inside of India as well as foreigners. So in all these context, we have to understand, even in the context of boosting of tourism, if you try to understand, for example, if railway lines are let down, if there is railway connectivity, coaches and trains such as Vande Bharat, Vistadome, all these coaches and trains can be run, which will provide a picturesque view of the beauty of Meghalaya in terms of natural beauty we are talking about to the people, and will attract more and more tourists, and will also increase and shore up the revenues of the state as such. And also, as we have discussed, the inflation definitely will be reduced because the prices of goods are much more higher currently in the Meghalaya, as they had to be transported only by road transportation, which is relatively costlier as such. So this is how we can understand the significance. Now, overall, the entire project also fits in the vision of Prime Minister, that is, we need to make, or we want to make our India Viksit, that is developed by the year 2047. So in the Viksit Bharat 2047, also every state of India has to develop if we want to ensure that India develops fully. And that is what he has rightly said, that when the people prosper, the states prosper, and the prosperity of people again is dependent upon the connectivity, dependent upon the modes of transportation, ease of access and all that. And when the states prosper, the nation becomes a thriving, self-reliant country, and that is why no state of India can and should be left behind, and that is why railway connectivity or all other types of connectivity is vital for ensuring this particular vision as such. So that is all about this particular video. If you like the video, please hit the like button, share with your friends, and subscribe to our channel for more such content. Thank you very much.